why is there so much stress and confusion over food? And
that's a really good question. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I had a client today, and I write protocols for 21 conditions, and I can write a detox for 21 conditions because that's my specialty, detoxification. And I want to say something about food. We live in a world of food chaos, number one, right? And, a lot of people, they feel sad. They can't eat anything. They're afraid to eat dairy. They're going to get a skin rash. They're afraid to eat sugar. They're going to gain weight, or their A1C is going to rise. They're afraid to eat meat because they're going to get parasites. They're afraid to eat rice because it has arsenic in it. They're afraid to eat grains because they're going to have indigestion problems. So you get my point? So we live in a world of food chaos. And when you listen to the gurus out there, you'll listen to the keto doctor and you'll say, wow, that sounds great. And not that he's wrong, he's right. Then you'll listen to the vegetarian. Then you'll listen to the plant-based doctor, and you'll listen to all these docs. But this is the real life situation. And that is that people have to do what's right for their body. And that's why I practice personalized medicine. I practice personalized medicine because the keto diet may not be right for you, but may be right for her. Plant-based diet may be right for him, but may not be right for him. You get my point? So right. That's why the world is confused. And that's why I call it food chaos, because there is no one right way. All of those gurus out there, they're all right and they're all wrong. It depends on who they're talking to. I hope that answers your question, but
you're right. I mean, I personally have so many food allergies, and I've been tested for them. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things you just don't know why you can't lose weight, why you have a skin rash, why is your hair falling out? We are all different. And like you said, what works for one person may not work for someone else.
That's right.
Dave works out a way and I work out the same way, and he'll lose 10 pounds in a minute and I'll gain those 10 pounds. So again, and obviously, you're the kind of person, I would want to go see for those answers.
I had a story today, and it was very sad for me to hear this. And there's a young girl that's so close to me and touches my heart. And she's only like 9, 10 maybe. And when I saw her on the vineyard, she was obese. And when I saw her 5 years ago, she was slightly on the heavy side, but she was young. So 5 years ago, she was what, 5? And so it wasn't so bad because, it's 5, cute. But then when I saw her, I says, what a shame, because she's 10 years old. And I guarantee you, in a few years, if her mom doesn't do something, she's going to have diabetes. Or kids are getting diabetes. Do you hear what I'm saying? Kids, they're obese. They're getting diabetes and high blood pressure. That's insane.
That is insane. Fatty liver disease too, as I was reading the other day. And it's not because they drink, it's because of the food they're eating.
That's right. Because of the food they're eating. Yeah. And we got to change that trajectory, because if we don't, we're losing. The children will die before their parents.
Wow.
Who wants to see their child die?
No one.
So we have to change that.
Yeah, we as parents also have to see that,
Yes.
Our child is overweight, and obviously the pediatrician is going to tell us your child is overweight. I know at least, they tell me.
but they don't give you any solutions. The solution is not exercise. You can't take an obese child and say exercise them to death. They have to have the nutrients. And the food that they're eating that's processed doesn't have enough nutrients. So if they don't have enough nutrients, they don't have enough oxygen. If they don't have enough oxygen, they cannot exercise. They need nutrients to exercise. If they're eating processed food, there's no nutrients.
You make a really good point. And well, my next question is, so what's the real solution to health and longevity?
Okay, that's a loaded question, number one. So you have to remember that I come from the world of detoxing. My first 20 years, maybe 15, 20 years was chronic illness. I worked in huge hospitals around the country, and I worked in chronic care, and sometimes I worked in acute care, but mostly chronic care. So I developed an educational protocol around chronic care. Chronic care meaning things like high blood pressure, what I'm getting ready to write the book on, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and now we got this new chronic care type of stuff. We got Lyme disease and, autoimmune disease. That's not even what I learned when I went to school, but now I'm learning these things, right? So it's still chronic care. So I always say the first thing you have to do is clean up your body. And that's called detoxification. And there's many ways to detox. 21 pounds in 21 days was a New York Times bestseller. But you have to remember, that was just one way. And it became very popular because people started saying, yeah, that makes sense. I want to lose weight, but I also want to do it with drinking and eating vegetables. So that's how that book became popular. But there's a lot of different ways to detox. But now, for longevity, which is your question, there's another type of detoxing called synolytic therapy, which we detox at the cellular level, the core of the cellular level. We try to clean up what's called those zombie cells, or senescent cells is the medical term for it. And I believe that we have to do that before we get to something called maintenance diet. And to get to your maintenance diet, which is also another name for that, which is called your lifestyle diet, you have to do blood work. And that goes way back to what I said in the beginning, right? That there's no perfect diet. Like there's no, just because somebody's on keto, that doesn't mean the other person should do keto. Just because somebody's on plant-based doesn't mean the other person should do plant-based. That is all about personalized medicine and personalized nutrition. That's why I call myself, a lot of people call me the nutrient doc or the detox doc, because I specialize in nutrition for many, many years. The other thing which is really important to reach longevity, besides detoxing and then getting on your lifestyle plan based on your blood work, is that you have to do some of the what I call innovative treatments to keep your vascular flow. Like earlier in the program, remember I said a lot of people will die with one of the 5 highs. And a lot of that has to do with the vascular flow not being clean, number one, also not flowing, which means no oxygen, which means basically they get blood clots or the blood gets thick. So vascular flow is very important. So I do a lot of work around vascular flow. Now, this is one of the things I'm going to leave you with. You're going to think about this. And my grandmother used to say this, okay? And I would get upset when my grandmother said this. She would say, stress kills. And then my mother started saying this when we were young, stress kills. I didn't know what that meant because I'm young, right? I'm like maybe in 10th grade or something like that. And I'm trying to understand why she keeps saying that. Well, first of all, she had a lot of kids. Well, 5 is a lot of kids, right? And so after nursing school, when I opened up my 3 care homes, nursing homes, care, what was I saying? So my grandmother would always say,
stress kills.
Yeah, she would always say that. And then my mother started saying that. So I had to learn what that meant. Well, doing blood work, I realized that a lot of my really sick chronic care or chronic illness type of clients had high cortisol levels through the roof. I mean, literally. And so I learned all about what that was and why cortisol levels were high and why the stress that created the inflammation, and the inflammation created this autoimmune type of chronic illness. So that was all stress. So when I started doing hydration IV drips, and I was doing a lot of peptides, amino acids, and vitamin Bs, and, just taking a concoction of autoimmune concoction, which means immune drips, we started getting their cortisol levels down. But the point I'm trying to make was that we live in a very stressful, dark world, especially now with all this dark stuff on the internet. I tell Jillian all the time, I don't want to go on there. I don't want to read it. I don't want to have anything to do with it, because since that started, we're finding that a lot of our kids, and trust me with this one, and our teenagers, they're suicidal. A lot of it's based on what they read and feel, the energy of the internet. It is very dark world sometimes if you're not careful. The mothers out there should be making sure that their kids are not on some of these dark internet circles.